Okay, moving into our next caller. We have Ariel on the line. Ariel, go ahead with your question. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much. Hello, both of you.
Thank you.
My question is, how could Jesus be a king and a priest when the Mashiach comes from the Davidic line, and the priests were typically from the tribe of Levi? So two completely different tribes.
Brilliant.
That's my question.
Great question.
So in truth, I should Google the phone number for the Vatican, and you should be asking them that question. I'm being facetious with you. You should be calling Moody Bible Institute, or more accurately, really, calling the book of Hebrews and asking its author who makes this claim, what are you talking about? You should be calling Dallas Theological, Fuller Theological. These are the conservative Christian universities. Call the patriarch of the Russian Orthodox. Call them and ask them, why are you asking me? No, this is a major issue. There's so many problems that I don't know where to begin. You're quite right. The way you know what tribe you're from is through your father. How do you know? Numbers 118, according to your family, according to your father's house. I'm from the tribe of Levi as an example, because I'm a descendant of Aaron, I'm a Kohen. I can't be Mashiach because the Messiah, conversely, must be a great-grandson of David and Solomon. Well, that means your father's father's father is from the tribe of Judah. You just can't have two daddies. So it's completely impossible. Let alone, I'm going to ignore the fatuous claim that Jesus was born to a virgin, because if you claim that he's born to a virgin, he doesn't even have a human Jewish father with which to trace his genealogy back to King David. Case closed. The Christian Bible, whether in Matthew 1 or Luke 3, is tracing the putative genealogy of Joseph, not of Jesus. And please don't tell me that Luke is tracing the genealogy of Mary. That's nonsense. Luke explicitly says in chapter 1, verse 27, that it's Joseph that was from the house of David, not Mary. When the book of Hebrew is being written, this is critical. I always do this, when was it written? So the book of Hebrews is written in the early 60s. I'll put the number 64 in there. So it's before the war with Rome. What's going on in Eretz Yisrael in 64? Where's the temple? It's standing. What's happening in the temple? It's operating in its full order, okay? It's going to be destroyed 6 years later. But as far as the author of the book of Hebrews, he's going, whoa, there's competition in Jerusalem. There's a whole sacrificial system going on. It's very important. As far as Hebrews is, the author of Hebrews, we don't know who wrote it. It's written anonymously, but whoever wrote it saw a Beis HaMikdash, a temple, with offerings and so on, with the high priest, with the temple, with everything happening in the full order. And the book of Hebrews is a 13-chapter screed argument against Judaism. That's the whole point of the book of Hebrews. In fact, how does Hebrews begin? Long ago, at many times in the past, so God spoke to the fathers of the prophets. But in these last days, he's spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom also he created the world. And then that's Jesus. And then he goes into why Jesus is greater than the angels, even though Christians frequently say that the angel of the Lord is Jesus. The book of Hebrews begins, the opening handful of passages, begins by saying that Jesus is not the angels. It can't be the angels. Why? You have to look it up for yourself. So the problem of saying that Jesus is also a high priest is not lost on the author of Hebrews. The author of Hebrews was not stupid. He was in opposition to the God of Israel. He opposed the teaching of the prophets of Israel, but he was not a dummy. So he understood this problem, and he seeks to convey that, in fact, that Jesus is a high priest, but not according to the Levitical order, but rather according to the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek, whom he says has no mother or father. So, bingo. What does that mean? Who's Melchizedek? So he's not a high priest like a high priest from the order of Aaron. Well, Melchizedek appears to us in Genesis chapter 14, toward the end of the chapter, after Avram Avinu defeated 4 enemies who had kidnapped his nephew Lot. He didn't take any booty for himself. He's given bread and wine, and he's given a promise that, in fact, that God's going to put your enemies in your hands. Who is Melchizedek? Well, Melchizedek is not a name of a person. It's not like my name is Tovia. No one was named Melchizedek, and we see this in the Christian Bible. The author is aware of this. Now, Melchizedek means a righteous king. So it's a formal name, and because of it's a kingly name, there's no father or mother. Why? Because it's like Cyrus's name, Lahavdil. His name wasn't really Cyrus. Whoever Cyrus was, that was a Persian name. That's why it's not Cyrus the son of, because Cyrus is the king. It doesn't matter who his father or mother was. And Alexander the Great, they believe, was born to a virgin. So that's why it's not, because it's a kingly name. That's why Pekach ben Ramayahu, who was the king of the southern kingdom of Judah, he's called Pekach ben Ramayahu, the son of Ramayahu. But Ritzin, that was a royal name, a Syrian name. So Ritzin in the Bible, who is the allied himself with the northern kingdom of Israel. So the king of Syria and the king of the north allied together against Achaz in the south. Ritzin doesn't have a mother and father. Doesn't mean he's God or divine. No, it's just these are royal names. That's why it's not relevant. And moreover, what is happening in Genesis 14? He's giving him bread and wine. Why is he blessing with bread and wine? Because bread and wine, why not, I don't know, cantaloupes and oranges? Bread and wine is sacred. Why? Because bread and wine come from a source that only one part of it is useful and the other part is worthless for human consumption. A grape grows on a vine. The grape is very useful, it's very delicious, and it ferments automatically. It took a Christian chemist to figure out how to stop that process and create grape juice. His name is Welch. So what about the grapevine is worthless, has no value at all. Not to us. We can't do anything. No one says, give a look at my chair. You see this chair? This chair, grapevines. Doesn't happen. Why? Can't use it. Other trees, let's say what an olive grows on, what a pomegranate. So those trees, the wood is very valuable. Olive wood, very valuable. But the purpose of the Jew is to be like the grape. The vine has no value. That you make great movies and you make good actors and you make Hollywood and you make banks and you make that's not why the Jew is here. In the same thing with bread. Bread is made from wheat. But wheat, there are 2 parts of the wheat. There is the part that we consume that's very valuable to us, and it is from that we make bread. But what's the chaff? Chaff is worthless for human consumption. They'll feed it to horses, but humans can't do anything with it. So the purpose of Klal Yisrael is to be the kernel of the wheat and to be the grape. Don't be the vine, don't be the chaff. So Shem, who's Melchizedek is a royal name, and the author of Hebrews acknowledges this. Shem is the one who gives the blessing to Abraham. What is he doing? He's passing on the branch. He's passing on the torch. He's saying, okay, now I have the torch, and now I'm passing it on to you, and that will continue to Avram, Yitzhak, Yaakov, where the covenant is ultimately settled. Just so you understand, the book of 39 out of 50 chapters in the book of Genesis are devoted to Abraham and his descendants, finding a royal family with whom God will work, who carry on the torch and the blessings that were transferred from Shem, who was the loyal son of Noach, who was righteous in his generation, going all the way back to Genesis chapter 6. So what the author of Hebrews has to do is he can't say that Jesus was a priest according to the order of Aharon. Why? Because he can't be from both. So we have Melchizedek introduced to us, and this creates a lot of noise. People don't know what this means, and suddenly you have a brand new message. One final thought I would be remiss in not mentioning, and that is we are told in Tanakh explicitly, not inferred, explicitly, that the last period of Jewish history will be characterized by a time where there is no sacrificial system, where there's no priest, where there's no king. Where? Hosea. Really? We're in Hosea, chapter 3, verses 4 and 5. For many days the children of Israel abide without a king or sacrifice, without any of the accoutrements of the Beis HaMikdash, of the temple. So there's no priest. There's no king until the end of the days when the nation of Israel returned to God and to David, his servant. That's Mashiach. That's Hosea 3, verse 5. Openly says it. So if you belong to a religion that claims that you have both a high priest and a king at all times, then you must belong to a false religion, because it's inconsistent with what Tanakh, which conveys explicitly that the last period of Jewish history will be many days. So it's not quickly, as we find the end of the book of Revelation, chapter 22, that I'm coming back quickly. No quick about it. It's a long span of time. And afterwards, after there's no king, no priest, no, then Klal Yisrael, the nation of Israel, will do tshuva, return back to God, and Mashiach will be, of course, king. Would you watch on the streets a 3-card Monte, when you watch these magicians who are doing sleight of hand, this is all about misdirection. Look at Melchizedek. What does Melchizedek have to do with anything? Because it's the same word priest. We catch the word priest in Tanakh can be used about a lot of people who are not priests. I'll even drive you nuts, but I have to do it so you understand how important this is. You'd be very careful with these words, because a kohen just means someone who holds office. That's really what it means. Lechahen is a verb. It means to hold office. And you even find in 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 18, it says openly that David's children were kohanim, were priests. Well, what does that mean? And please look it up for yourself. Now, some of the translators render 2 Samuel 8:18. In Hebrew, it's kohanim, priests. But some of them say hold office to make sense out of it so people don't lose their minds. But it really says kohanim. What now? Do you think that the church is not going to weaponize this because Melchizedek is a priest, because the descendants of Aaron are priests? You think they're not going to exploit that variant? Of course they are. Because Tanakh, variously, because the word priest really means someone who holds order, who holds office, who is in charge. And therefore, you can have even the Koyanei Baal, the priests of Baal. That means they're from the descendants of Aaron. You understand how people can play games with you if you don't have this, if you don't seize this remarkable, this spark of language only found in the Hebrew scriptures? Thank you so much for your thoughtful question. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה